Yo, what's poppin', everyone? We are Minds That Matter. I'm your girl, Tassie Janae Jones. We got my girl, Shamoni.
Hey, hey, hey.
And we also got my dog, Nicole.
What's up?
Yo, what's up, girl? Our objective is to promote positive dialogue that encourages forward thinking. We're striving to encourage and empower individuals through collaborative discussion. We hope you guys enjoy our dope conversations and our content. Let us know what you guys think and hit us up.
And if you guys like the content we are bringing, make sure you subscribe to us on all social media platforms at Minds That Matter.
Yes. So we want to thank all our listeners who've been listening to all our episodes, keeping up with everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Nicole, say thank you.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
You guys are dope as fuck for keeping up with us. You know, we get off track a lot, and we've had a lot of awesome, amazing, and entertaining guests, and we want to thank them for tuning in and also being a part of Minds That Matter. And we hope that all the information we've been giving out has been helping you guys out.
Or at least making y'all laugh, at least.
At least making y'all laugh.
Least.
Yes, we like to fuck shit up every now and then.
I want to thank you guys for being patient with us too through this growth process.
Yeah.
I feel like we're still progressing every day. Somebody need to get us on the Breakfast Club. I've been nearly thinking about that. Shout out to the Breakfast Club, but I'm gonna try that.
They're my favorite podcast, probably.
Mine too.
Other than
but I just want to thank y'all for being patient with us and sticking with us. And if you listen every Monday faithfully, if you listen Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, any day of the week.
Any day. If you click on Minds That Matter in any of our social media platforms, we fuck with you.
Facts.
Even if you only listen to the first 2 minutes and 38 seconds, we appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Well, this episode today is going to be just the Minds That Matter hosts.
What's up?
What's poppin'? We want to know and confirm and discuss about relationships. We've noticed that, or we want to confirm if yes or no, that a lot of relationships end by listening to family members and miserable friends. A lot of people end up in certain situations where you air out your business to those that you love, to those around you,
to social media,
to, you know, people that you're around every day, people you probably don't even talk to every day. And then once they let out their opinion on what you're venting about in your relationship, and that person cannot even be going in the same experience as you, you know, you start to reflect on what they said. And in that specific moment, that can end up destroying something special you could or couldn't have had. So we kind of want to discuss that. So do relationships end when you start spitting that business out to family and friends? Ladies, what do you think?
Well, I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
I kind of pondered about this when we first thought about doing this topic, and I think I'm on the fence with it. And I say that because I think it can really go either way.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes your spouses or your partner's family can really give you some good insight as to what the person is about and what the person, like their habits and things like that. But it can also be kind of toxic because it can put a preconceived notion in your head. Same thing with your family. They can just see based on outside appearances, and also they're only taking in your perspective. So I think that can cause them to cloud their judgment based on what you tell them. So I don't really have a concrete answer as to, I think I'm more for yes or I'm more for no, but I definitely think it can go both ways depending on the topic at hand and the type of person you're with and the type of person you need.
Okay.
That's
Nicole,
interesting.
what do you think?
I'm going to disagree. I do not think that friends and family can ruin relationships, you know. Should they be involved in relationships? Maybe not, but I don't think that they necessarily ruin relationships. I think that people ruin their own relationships. I think people need to be accountable for their own actions and lack of actions in relationships and the things that they say, or the things that they bring to the relationship, like their past traumas and things like that, those insecurities that often make it easier for relationships to end. Now, I do know that a lot of people are influenced by their friends and family's opinions, but at the end of the day, I feel like if it was so easy for someone to maybe end their relationship based on that, it's some other insecurities like rooted within yourself that have made the relationship, be kind of rocky. Because when you're in a relationship, it's just y'all two people most of the time. And I feel like you guys need to be accountable. Like, it's your own fault. It's not anybody else's fault but y'all's,
But you see, you said that it's most of the time. So I'm with both of y'all. Like, I'm on both sides.
Oh, when I say most of the time, I mean, like, some people be having side bitches and shit like that. Or, or like side dudes. That's what I meant by most of the time. It's just y'all. But,
God damn it.
Other people like to be,
polygamous. Hoes.
Okay. Yeah, that type of stuff. That's what I meant. But, I mean, I can see how both of you guys could be, like, on the fence or in the middle. But I don't know. I just think that it's not, you can't blame other people for what goes on in your relationship, your mistakes, and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I say I'm in the middle because of I'm hearing both of your guys' perspectives on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And people should be accountable for their actions and decisions. But in a relationship, and I've been in a few where there you could be with the mama's boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his mama always got something to say. Or always got an opinion, like you said, always got an opinion on certain perspectives of the relationship, and they're always putting their 2 cents in y'all relationship. Now, as the individual in the relationship, if that person decides to let their mama ear out all the negative things that they're dealing with, and then they start perceiving it and seeing like, oh, my mama's right.
Mm-hmm.
This person is disrespectful to me. She don't cook. She don't clean. Or on the other end, where if the girl's mom is telling the dude, or whatever type of relationship you're in, because now it's girl, guy, boy, girl, whatever type of relationship you're in. If someone's in your ear telling you things about your significant other that is negative, and you're perceiving it and then taking it in and starting to see it, you're allowing what someone else's opinion is to kind of reflect how you're seeing that person. Yeah, that can be detrimental to your relationship. You're going to start seeing the things that person's saying. Oh, that person doesn't care about me, right? They do treat me this way, or they don't like doing this for me. And then you don't vocalize that to that specific person. You start judging them the way the person outside of y'all relationship judged them. So
it could be a situation where the person just doesn't necessarily see everything like a person does from the outside looking in.
Exactly.
And, I mean, everybody's been in that position where they're just so in love, and they're blinded by it.
Right.
I don't care what nobody say. You've probably known about the flaws, but you don't want to.
You didn't pay attention to it because you're so into that person. Like
sometimes somebody on the outside come in like, "Hey, did you see this?" I'm not passing no judgment, but I just want you to be aware of this little trait.
Right.
That's not a bad thing.
Or like if someone is jobless and then your family or friends are saying that person's fucking lazy, they can't get a job, they can't support you. Why are you being with someone who doesn't want to support you or take care of you? You're doing all the work, you're paying all the bills. You know what I mean? And then you don't correlate that information to the person you're with. You're hearing all this stuff from the outside. You're like, they right, this is true. I'm not dealing with your ass. It's over.
Right. But I think that's just how people, like you said, people choose what they want to believe. People choose what they like. You can tell me something about, you can tell me the sky is blue 14 times, but if I look at it and see it's purple, that's how I perceive it, right? Like, so perception, I feel like plays a big part in that also. I mean, I'm not saying that you guys are wrong. I just think that ultimately sometimes a lot of the things that people do ignore in relationships because of the whole love is blind thing, it's stuff that they know. So I don't know, maybe people do make it easier for you to see those flaws and insecurities, but ultimately I feel like it's things that are just like deeply rooted within yourself automatically. Like, y'all could tell me all day, like, oh, Nicole, like, he's a bad guy for you, blah, blah, blah. I don't think you should be talking to him. He has 6 girlfriends, all that stuff. But ultimately, like, until, like, I see it for myself or I'm ready, like, I'm the person that's going to make that decision. I'm not going to say, well, Tasi told me I shouldn't be with you, so I'm going to, like, break up with you,
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying everybody's strong enough to do that, but I don't know. I just don't think that they're the problem per se. It's the people within the relationship that are the problem, you know? They might have some influence, but ultimately I think the people who are in the relationship hold all the weight.
And see, I feel like we're old enough to kind of stand our ground and make that predict, like, you know, we kind of understand that logic now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everyone doesn't have the logic that we have to interpret that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, we're adults. The mature thing to do is figure it out as one and communicate. People can tell me all I want, but at the end of the day, it's my decision. And if I choose to do that, I'm responsible. Like, we have that logic as adults now, but everyone doesn't think the same. Everyone isn't in the same situation.
Everybody ain't as fortunate.
Is not as fortunate to be to have the same types of common sense. Common sense come in different formulas and flavors. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's if people, and especially if you're in a close unit relationship. Nicole, you've been on your own for a while now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So imagine being in a, like, and honestly, like, you've been in a situation where the things that your family have told you, it meant a lot to you. Like, right? You're still going to make your own decision, right? But you do take heed to what a family member has to say or a friend has to say. Like, you listen.
Yeah.
But you're still going to do your own thing, right?
Right.
A lot of people are in that position where they can choose to do their own thing, or if a family member is going to be if they're close to their family and they respect their family's opinion or their friend's opinion, because they know that their family and friends have their back. Your family and friend has been in your life your whole life. They've had your back. They've been there for you as long as you can remember. Why wouldn't you listen to them now? With this new person, you have these feelings for them now, but if they hurt you or you're going through a traumatic situation and your family's trying to help you, quote unquote, escape from it or get out of that situation, some people leave or some people have the logic to work it out. So,
especially if the criticism that they're given is constructive. If it's constructive, then I don't think it's necessarily wrong to listen to that.
No, I don't think it's wrong either. I think that brings up a good point. Like, if whatever they're saying is coming from a place of, like, you know, genuine like concern, or if it's coming from a place of like envy and jealousy, you know, you can kind of like tell the two apart, hopefully, you know. So I think that also makes a difference. Like, whenever you guys tell me something, or my friends and family members tell me something, like you said, I listen, I take it into consideration, and, you know, but ultimately, like, the choice is still mine, you know. So, like, I'm not going to give anybody else the power to over my relationship that much to influence any type of decision that I make. It's going to be for me. Like, I've been in situations where love wasn't blind and I knew shit wasn't going down the way it should have been, and I still was around because I wasn't ready to make that choice.
And that's a big decision to make. Do I stay or do I go?
Exactly. It was all on me per se, not on anybody else, you know?
You know what that's frustrating in a lot of our listeners? I mean, if you're in a situation, like, you know, if you're in a relationship, right? Everything's not perfect. No one has a perfect relationship. If you are getting any advice from someone, that's something really important you need to pay attention to. Is the person that's giving you this advice envious, or are they sincere?
And that stuff come in different ways, shapes, and forms.
Right.
You definitely have to be aware of who you're speaking with, because a person always shows you their true colors.
Well, yeah.
How I deal with Tasi is not how I deal with Nicole. And not to say that it's bad on either end. It's just
like, damn,
everybody has to be dealt with differently. No, not even like that.
Yeah.
Just everybody is dealt with differently. Like, I can put Tasi in a certain situation and I can tell you how she's going to respond. I can put Nicole in that same situation. Nicole's not going to respond the same. So you have to know who you're dealing with, because
their personalities, their reactions to situations. I feel you 100%. Actually, yeah, that's true.
So and I want to.
Go.
I was going to say, I wanted to read something. It's pretty much the same question that we've kind of been like tossing around back and forth, but we did ask some of our listeners. We did an Instagram poll, and the question was a lot of relationships end by listening to family members and miserable friends. And I asked, what do you guys think, true or false? And 71% of people chose true and 29% of people chose false.
And let me specify what miserable friends are. If you have a friend that always says something negative, like there's no good feedback or friendly advice, it's always a negative turn or result conclusion with this person. That's a miserable ass friend. That's somebody's energy you should even entertain. Like,
right. And I want to go ahead and say, for the record, not all single people are miserable. That is a myth. We are great. We are living our lives. This is why we are able to give such valuable advice to people that are in relationships, because our judgment is not clouded.
Okay, I don't. Are we talking about it? I don't completely agree either. But
okay,
and
go ahead.
Tell me how a person who hasn't experienced something can give great advice to someone.
No, I didn't say we haven't experienced something. I'm just saying some people that are not in current relationships.
Yes,
can give valuable advice.
You're currently single, right?
Right.
I've been married for 7 years, right?
Okay.
How would you give a person like me advice on 7 years of marriage? From
it
you're just looking on the outside looking in, right?
Specific though, I can't just give you advice on marriage. You'd have to ask me like something specific in general.
You'll just give like your opinion on it, like, oh, well, if that's going on, in my opinion, I would say you should blah blah blah, or you're gonna say like, oh, it makes sense to do this. Like, how would you give me advice if you personally?
It depends. It could be a little bit of both. I could say, well, I mean, this would make sense, or in my opinion, this is what I think makes sense, or in my opinion, this is what I would advise, or if I was in this situation, this is what I would do. This is how, because this is how I'm interpreting it. But
if I was in this situation, I don't think that's necessarily true, because you saying that from a logical standpoint, where you're in a relationship,
it's different. It's different. Yeah, like I used to think certain ways from like my own perspective. We used to talk about everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? We used to always have like our own ideas and everything. I'm not saying like you're wrong. I'm just trying to put this out here. You know?
Right.
When I got in a relationship, my whole perspective and mind changed, because now I have to compromise ideas and figure things out that not just work for my selfish benefit. Like, I have to. Me and my partner are making these decisions together. Like I have to think about my child, because I don't want her to ever have any traumatic experiences as a child. Even if it's a difficult decision to make, it's in the interest of myself, my husband, and my baby. So asking a single person how to make certain decisions in my life, in my current situation, would just be difficult for me. I reach out to y'all because y'all my best friends, and y'all know me basically almost my whole life.
Right. You know? And I can see it would probably be difficult for you, because you would assume that I don't understand because I'm not going through the same situation.
Right.
And then even now, personally, just using you as an example, even though we've been your friends your whole life, I don't know you married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know you personally married.
Y'all know Tassie Scott. Y'all don't know Tassie Jones.
Exactly. So there's still a respect level and something that's altered because she's in a relationship. Just like with me. I can ask you for advice, but I can tell you I'm going to do something all day long. But when I get in front of his face,
it's different.
And I see his emotions change.
It's different.
I'm going to react different.
It's different. Well, yeah.
I mean, that's with everybody, because
I'm going to show y'all another titty just because of that.
Shout out to Toxic Titties being shown out right now. That makes sense though, because like y'all said, like when your emotions, have a tendency to kind of like overpower logic a lot of the time. But how many times have I said something to you and then later on you came back and be like, Nicole, you was right. Nicole, you did this. Or Nicole, you know what? You said this might go this way, and you and such agreed on the same thing. And that's somehow that's kind of worked, like, so
well, I was going to say, I think that's specific to my reaction to certain shit. Cause I know me personally, I'm emotional with people that I care.
I mean, yeah, but like, I think it's been for situations that have been your reaction or just maybe his reaction also, but I'm thinking ultimately, like, yes, I'm not married, and no, I'm not in a relationship, but I have been in situationships, and I've been in like little brief relationships, and I've been friends with people for so long, so I do know how to interact with people in general. You know, on top of the fact that like my background and like educations and stuff is within studying people and human behavior and environments and all that kind of stuff. So I know a little bit about a little bit. I know that
this
like
bitch said my credentials speak for me, bitch.
I know that
I ain't knocking your credentials, but credentials and life experience are two different things.
I just said that, bro. I just said I know experience is the best teacher. I know that books don't teach you everything, but at the end of the day, like I'm still no fool. So if I could see something, you know, objectively, because I'm outside of a situation, and sometimes it's right, sometimes I'm wrong, then I mean, it is what it is. I just don't think that people should categorize single people as in one measurable box because we're single.
Miserable.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think that.
Yeah. Okay. Example: we was just talking about the Breakfast Club, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a segment called Ask E, right? Angela Yee gives advice to people who inbox her, hit her up, or call in, and they tell their situation. And some Breakfast Club listeners hate when she does it because a lot of people like, I got kids, and my situation, blah blah blah, my kids. And they be like, Angela, you ain't got no motherfucking kids. How the fuck you gonna give somebody advice if you ain't got no kids? And she'd be like, first of all, she basically explained exactly how you felt. She's like, just because I'm not in that specific situation doesn't mean I can't give good advice. Like I've seen, I've witnessed, and my conclusion to your situation, this is what you should do.
Right.
So like, I'm not saying we should knock you for your advice. I'm saying, you know, people in general should take heed to what they're hearing from family or friends. And if they choose to take it in and reflect it based on other people's opinions, that's their prerogative.
Right.
But as a person, be accountable for your actions and be open to communicating, because that's going to resolve everything.
Absolutely.
You need to hear the other person's opinion that you're in a relationship, not just everyone around you. And I'm saying, because some people around you could give good advice.
Yes.
If it's good advice, then listen.
Yes. But ultimately, it's
right. You have to know what's weighing out the good and the bad and figure out what's best for you internally. Because at the end of the day, this is your life. You only get one. God is good. And take each
all the time
grain of salt. Period.
Yeah, I agree. That definitely makes sense.
I mean, you feel me?
To sum it up, my personal opinion is that ultimately, I don't think family and friends make or break your relationship, but I do think that they can help provide you with insightful information. So I don't think you should discount anybody's opinions about things, because like I said, sometimes people see traits and things like that you don't pick up on because you're so love struck or you're so stuck in the moment. So I wouldn't say that breaks you up, but I definitely think that conversation can open your eyes to another format, because you're not always as present as you want to be logically
when you're in a relationship.
She's
saying you can get dickmatized. So
dickmatized, you
can be dickmatized.
Let's be clear.
You can be showermatized. It can be anything. Shit.
Right.
So I definitely don't think that it is.
He can eat.
I don't think you should discount families' opinions and things like that. As far as negative and jealous friends, and I do think they have the ability to break something apart, especially if the foundation is not strong.
Right.
Because
toxic, they made it more toxic.
Exactly. And it's just like a foundation to a house. If it got one crack and you keep striking it, eventually it's gonna collapse.
Earthquake.
Okay, so I definitely think people's opinions, because that's what matters to a lot of people nowadays, is people's opinions. And like we said earlier, everybody isn't as strong as or mentally strong as we are. So I definitely think that negative people have the ability to puncture your relationship and tarnish it if you allow that.
Because of you not being secure within yourself and what you think about yourself or your relationship, and because your own insecurities, basically, that's why somebody else can only be able to penetrate your relationship, because of the rockiness in your foundation that you already have, right?
That's your opinion. I'm saying I think people have the ability to negatively influence a relationship and cause it to crack. So yes, I would say miserable people have the ability to fuck up a relationship. I absolutely agree with that. But I also don't think that always happens. I think that sometimes people get into situations and they're not clear on the situation. Mm-hmm. And then when it all goes south, it's because it wasn't something that was supposed to be salvaged.
Damn. So people need to first reevaluate themselves. Do a self-evaluation on yourself. Consider and confirm that if you're happy.
Because you don't have to
all be insecurities.
No. You don't have to be a weak-minded person to be in a fucked up relationship.
You can have all your shit together, right? And shit just don't pop. Like, you know, and life should be popping. Don't give a fuck what other people think. And then reevaluate your circle. Realize and see if you are surrounded by miserable fucks or if you're surrounded by people who give a fuck about you and really want your best well-being, you know, and purpose in life. That's just it. Like that way, if people are giving their opinion, you know, it's for the best for you, not because they're envious or they're being ridiculously turd about what's going on. I'm using some goddamn crazy ass vocabulary. I just
what? Nicole, do you want to give some of the responses from Facebook? Because I know a couple of people actually like verbally responded on the post.
Oh yeah, they gave their full like.
How much? Oh yes, I mean
a couple of them were really good.
You know, I don't have that screenshotted. I don't have that pulled up, so I wasn't prepared. I only had the actual percentages pulled up.
That's fine. I'll pull it up. Go ahead and say your piece.
So,
go ahead and say your piece.
I mean, will you call me off guard, Shannon? Ultimately, I think that both of you guys had great points, and like you said, obviously we all have our own opinions, you know, as we should. I just think that people give other folks too much credit is all I'm saying. Like
keep you people out your relationship.
Yeah, like, okay. And if you feel like you are unable to really handle advice from certain people, don't take it, don't ask for it. Or if you feel like you may not really feel like it, but if like your foundation is already rocky in your relationship and you have insecurities and things of that nature, so you start to become influenced by what other people say, that's your fault because you are giving people too much credit. You're allowing people to have too much power over you in your relationship, you know? So I feel like you can't really blame the other people, but only you have to be accountable and say, you know what, like these people aren't doing anything for me. Like I shouldn't be letting their opinions affect me in my relationship and how we move. Therefore, like I'm going to block out all that negativity and I'm going to work on my foundation over here, and whatever these people continue to say is not my business.
That's right. If you, sis, bro, whoever the fuck listening, you a motherfucking boss. You feel me?
Okay. And I don't necessarily think that what you're saying logically is wrong. I'm saying the blanket statement that it's just the person. Because a lot of times influence matters. Whether we want to say it's because you weak-minded or whether we want to say it's because you insecure, that matters. It still matters. So I don't think necessarily, I personally, let me change up what I'm saying. I personally wouldn't say that that's going to be all on that person specifically. Because some people might be insecure and not even realize they're insecure. So would you call that ignorance and still say it's their fault?
No, it's just, they're just not aware that they're insecure, but they are. I mean, a lot of people aren't really aware what, you know, and it happens. But I'm saying that you still have to have some type of accountability, whether you are realizing that you're insecure or not, you know, like ultimately, like.
Why does there have to be a flaw in that individual for them to like or appreciate the advice from others?
What do you mean?
Because you're saying every time someone thinks that if they listen to, like, okay, say your self-esteem is on 10, right? Mm-hmm. You are educated on relationships, you have a great mindset, you know, you fucking popping, you smile at yourself in the mirror, life is good, you make great money, you got your own shit, you popping, independent motherfucking living.
Right.
Popping. I'm hella extra, sorry. Okay, so
don't be sorry.
You love your family and friends. Mm-hmm. They give you their opinion on something and you think, maybe they're right.
Mm-hmm.
why is that a flaw or insecurity about themselves? Like,
everything
I told you.
That specifically is not necessarily an insecurity that you like their advice or you want to accept their advice. I'm not saying
that. Yeah, you're like,
No, I'm saying that if you're not secure within like knowing yourself and what you want and things like that, then the other people's opinions you are allowed to penetrate your minds is the issue. But it's not necessarily like that person per se, but it's maybe you and you being secure within your own decisions and stuff like that. I'm not saying that, I take your advice all the time, or I would take your advice all the time, but I'm not saying that that's making me a weak person. I'm just saying that people who don't really have the ability to sort out their own thoughts and think for themselves and things of that nature, that's, in my opinion, it's kind of a flaw, and that is more so the problem versus like saying that like James ruined my relationship, but it's more so like, I allowed the negativity to seep through and I became damaged by it, so I'm just saying like those things like that, maybe that's, I guess, what I'm trying to get at. Not necessarily that you take somebody else's advice makes you weak, because that's like taking constructive criticism. That's like, part of growing and all this. That's good. That's good stuff that you can take advice. Like, so I commend people who can take, good constructive criticism and advice. I'm just saying that when you don't have the ability to think on your own,
differentiate and think on your own
like that and sort out those types of things, that's more so the insecurity. That's more so the flaw. Unfortunately,
growing up, I've noticed that people simply don't know things because they weren't taught it. So we can expect someone to, analyze the situation and figure it out on their own. But we know that. Like, you have to remember, like, we know that because we're logical people. We've been blessed enough to be put on game about a lot of shit. But, like, that's not the majority of people. Some people simply don't know to analyze their situation and figure shit out on their own because no one's ever taught them.
Yeah, and some people just aren't analytical like that, like common sense ain't so common,
Common sense ain't so common. That's a shirt, bitch.
From what I've seen just on the comments, I looked on Instagram and Facebook. Mostly everybody are saying they agree if you're younger in a relationship, and I concur with that. Once you're younger, you're fresh in a relationship, you don't really know what you're doing, so you just let everybody know everything. So I completely kind of agree with that.
It's happening.
And then as you get older and you're a little more seasoned and you dealt with that season and that time frame, you kind of learn to keep stuff
to yourself, in a relationship
and behind closed doors, because certain stuff is sacred. You can't tell everything.
Absolutely.
So I kind of, I think that from what I can see here, it's pretty much a tie. Some people said false, some based on the comments specifically. Said false. Some people said true and false. So I think they're kind of swaying the same way. But like Nicole said, once the poll was taken, it was 71% true. So, but I think this conversation was definitely interesting, to say the least, especially because typically it's like flip-flop. It's like I'm on the opposing side and they them to agree. So that was interesting for me. But I mean, we're open to everyone's opinion on this topic. If you guys want to leave comments below, please do so. And we can try to revisit this again, because I think we have some other topics that we need to go over a little more in depth, just because we touched on them basically. Or just by the tip, just a little bit.
Just a tip.
Just a tip. Well, if you guys like
tip in my mouth. What?
Well, if you guys like the content we're bringing, help us continue the conversation. Comment in the descriptions below. Let us know if you guys have any questions, or if you guys want to help us out with some topics. Feel free to throw in some ideas out at us. We'd love to hear them. Do us a favor and join us on all social media platforms. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to all the podcast content. And remember, we are
Mind Got Matter. Peace, y'all.